Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya. Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia, I wanna know ya. Cameroon, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, gotta let me show ya. Nigeria, Bioko Island, Liberia, I wanna know ya.
I wanna know ya. Hey everybody, it's Wendy Cherry and I am here again, sitting in for Dr. Gina Page, who is on her way back from the motherland. She's been there for quite a long time, but she's on her way back. So I'm here to hold it down for African Ancestry Live. So come on in. Y'all know how we do. Where are you from? Hey, Kim Wright. Hey, Fancy Patterson. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. It was pretty nice here in the DMV. Hey, ZL Palmer. How y'all doing? Where y'all from? Rep y'all set. I'm from the Temene people of Sierra Leone, and I am also from the Mafa people of Cameroon. So come on in. Of course, we have another wonderful show for you. Now, this one's going to be a little bit differently because we're going to talk about how to navigate the holidays and how to keep a calm mind and spirit as we're navigating what's going on and to tap into our soul wealth. So it's going to be a little bit different. We're still talking giving and receiving. So consider tonight you all receiving some wisdom from a very, very special person. Rosa Barr Williams, come on in. Oh, she from the Temne tribes. She must be my cousin. Come on in, everybody. So as you know, every beginning of the show, we have a winner. So we are going to be giving away tonight a Remember Who You Are journal. So by the end of the night, I will be able to tell you who the winner is because I'm kind of moving all the buttons at the same time as I'm trying to look at the chat. So I am going to say who the winner is, and then you'll be able to contact African Ancestry to get your journal. I see my girl Anisha in the house. Hey, sis. How you doing? So everybody still come on in. Now listen, we want more people to know about our show. So please get people to just like and subscribe and share for us. That's one of the ways that other people can know about the dope information that we share here on African Ancestry Live. Also, if there's somebody who you think should know about this conversation, just tag them in the chat. Tag them in the chat. So we're asking you to like, we're asking you to subscribe, and we're asking you to share. So here we go. The other thing is, because we have so many new people, we have the African Ancestry online community. And our girl, our teammate, and my soror, Ty Brooks, is the one who manages the AAOC. And so if you have taken the test or somebody in your family has taken the test, you can be down with the AAOC crew too. All you need is to provide the test taker's name and their 7-digit kit ID number. That's what you need to do. So you go to Facebook, then they're going to ask you questions. You have to get the questions right. So for anybody who's here that's from the AAOC, then type in AAOC in the chat to represent the AAOC. Then you'll have to answer some membership questions. And just allow a few days because Ty is always inundated after a Wednesday live. You guys go and you join, but it takes her a little time to get through it. So allow some time, but remember, no customer service questions are asked in that platform. That's the platform to have fun, to meet your cousins and meet your people and just have fun. Okay. So if you need some other questions, then you go to info@africanancestry.com. All right. So without further ado, party people, we have a very, very special guest. Kendra's in the house from the AAOC. When Payande is in the house, Montreal is in the house, Kendra's in the house. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much. So I'm super excited. So these are my big sisters. Gina is my big sister. But our next guest is also my big sister. I actually call her Mama Bird because she has taught me so much. So we brought her here to share some jewels with you. So I always see myself as a little baby bird in the nest going cheep, cheep. And then she drops a worm in. And sometimes I can eat it all. Sometimes I bite off a little piece and just see how I like it. And then sometimes I spit it out. It just depends. But this is what we brought her here for, is to drop some wisdom to you all. So let's see. I would like for you to put red hearts in the chat for my big sister. Her name is Dr. Vikki Johnson. And she is an author. She is a radio show host. She's a chaplain. She speaks around the world. And more than that, she gives her heart to everybody that she knows. And she is the mentor's mentor. So if you have a mentor, your mentor should always have a mentor. And she is really that woman for hundreds of people. And she is mine too. She was the gift I gave myself 10 years ago on my birthday. And so I'm very excited that she's here. She is the author of Soul Wealth, which is her 12th book, which we might get into a little bit while we're here. So go check out her website. Her website is VikkiJohnson.com. So check her out. And without further ado, I'm going to add her to the chat. Welcome, Dr. Vikki.
Thank you. Hello, Wendy, and hello, everyone. Hello.
Drop some red hearts, everybody. Welcome,
African Ancestry family.
Yes. So now
we are family.
The dope thing is, Dr. Vikki, you're a family member too.
I am.
Okay. So maybe let's start there.
Okay.
Tell us how you started, how you took the test, or how your family member took the test, and why it was important.
Well, legacy has always been important. And first, wait a minute, let me back up for a minute. I just want to say thank you for the invite, the opportunity to come and share with family during my birthday month. And I just want to celebrate our sister, Gina, in her absence, yet her presence, because her energy is just palpable in this community and all of the work that she does. So I just want to salute and honor her as she's on her way back, and just send her a lot of love as she's traveling to get back here. I'm sure to prepare to take another group of family members home, right? So legacy has always been important to me, even before I knew African Ancestry existed. And that's just because of the type of family, clan, village I grew up in, if you will. Legacy was always important to my elders. And so before I really truly understood the significance of knowing what my ancestry is, I had family members who were doing this work. So before I became aware of African ancestry, some of my family members had already traced my mother's line, my maternal line, back to Nigeria, to the Igbo people. And so I knew that. I just knew that because it was shared as our lineage was traced. And so I knew that part. I did not know my father's side. And that was more interesting to me at the time, because my father never knew his grandparents, right? They died before he was born, tragically. His grandparents were murdered. And so he never got a chance to meet his father's mother and father. And so the only information he had was what was told, which was very little. Similarly, on his mother's side, he never knew his grandfather, but he knew his grandmother, and knew that his mother and grandmother, his maternal mother and grandmother, were from South Carolina. And so fast forward, and I think it was at a conference out at National Harbor, one of the many conferences out there. And I was kind of strolling through the vendors and came upon Gina.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can I say? I came upon Gina standing at the booth. She was an exhibit at this conference, African Ancestry. And so I'm like, what is this, right? Because I tell you, my family is always talking about legacy. I have a younger family member, cousin, who's an archivist. She has her PhD in African history. So it's in me, right? but not in the way of scholarship. So when I came upon Gina, I was like, what is this? Who are, we talk, chit chat, and you meet Gina once, it's like you've known each other forever. And she explained it, and she said, well, it would have to be a woman on your father's side. My grandmother was deceased. And so my dad has 2 sisters.
Okay.
And got to my dad's sister, she was like, what is it?
Right.
She was like, she's a senior citizen.
What these people
An
want to do with
elder.
my stuff, with my spit, right?
And she was like, what is this? I say, just do it. Right? So she did it. And it came back that my father's mother is from Sierra Leone, the Mindi people.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, now I know, right? It does something to you that really is indescribable. And it really is kind of hard to articulate. It's just a knowing and awareness that comes upon you that elevates you in ways that are energetic and spiritual, and that connect you to something bigger than yourself. And that's how I became a part of the African Ancestry family. And I tell everyone who will listen, you need to do it. You need to know. Because when I start reflecting and contemplating on who I am and how I show up in the world, it also informs what my gifts are, what my passions are, what my purpose is, why I'm doing what I do, the way that I do it, where the warrior comes from, where my fire comes from, right? Why I love nature, why I love rice. It just begins to inform all of these things about me that you don't really consider the value or the weightiness or the why of a thing. But when you have this information, it's a different way to navigate life. You navigate now with more intention. You navigate with more awareness. Listen, you navigate now with more connection. Because now when I see Sierra Leone Mindy, right, I'm like, oh, we're people. It just gives you the power of community. It gives you the power of clan. It gives you the power of tribe. And that all of those are portals within which we thrive as people of African descent.
Absolutely.
We thrive in community. So that's my story. That's how I'm here. And I'm so happy.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for your yes. Thank you for your yes. So now we had a show last week where we talked about ancestors and connecting with the ancestors. So it used to be frowned on for people of African descent to connect with their ancestors in such a visible way as it is now. So how do you connect with your ancestors?
Girl, how much time do you have? I'm laughing. Let me tell you, true story. So I have an altar in my home, an ancestor altar. And my great grandfather was a medicine man. I'm originally from Florida. And so my 2 great grandmothers are both Native American. One is a Creek Indian, and one is a Cherokee Indian. And I am named after my great grandmother, whose name is Victoria. And so again, understanding, informing why I am the way that I am. And so I've always been connected to presence larger than me since a child, always. And so I have an altar in my home. That's where I started. And I have pictures of my ancestors on the altar. And, I have some other things. And just today, Wendy, not even kidding, I kind of walked past my altar and I keep this glass of water on the altar. Girl, the glass was empty.
Oh.
And I went, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know y'all been working overtime for
Right.
me. That's what's been going on. I'm so sorry. I'm
Right.
so sorry. Oh, please forgive me. Right?
Yeah.
It slowed me down. And I
Mhm.
immediately refreshed the altar
Right.
and, made the adjustments. But I had an instant connection.
Yeah.
Um, uh, as it relates to how much they have been working on my behalf and protecting me and covering me.
Right.
And so to answer your question, I'm intimately connected
Right.
with my ancestors when I do ancestral readings, when I receive them. And I've been doing this for now over 15 years. My grandmother shows up every single time. She is the vocal one. She leads the pack, right? And in the last reading that I had, it was my grandmother, my great grandfather, her father, and then someone from tribal times, an ancestor from tribal times showed up and just gave me so much information
Right.
to let me know that I'm on the right path, that they are with me, that they are for me. And what it has done has anchored my courage and anchored my confidence, Wendy, to walk out my assignment with intention, with purpose, and fearlessly, because I know that even though it looks like I may be alone, I'm never, ever alone. And
Absolutely.
that is in addition to my God consciousness. Okay. So when you put it all together, it really speaks to the invincibility of who we are as a people and why our faith and our connection to God has been colonized. Our faith has been gentrified. Our way of connecting and being has been stripped away from us and then sold back to us, much like everything else happens. And that's not an indictment, it's a statement of fact, right? Like, we are the original people. We are it. We are the blueprint.
We
And
are.
so when it comes to faith, when it comes to our God connection and how we experience our divinity, because that's what it is, when it comes to that, it is imperative to understand that what we have been told is demonic, what we have been told is witchcraft, what we have been told is ungodly, really is our power. And ancestral connection, veneration, however you experience your ancestors, is a part of that, is a part of what we get to reclaim so that we can be who we're supposed to be while we are here.
You
Did
know,
that answer your question?
it's
I
really
feel like I kind of went off.
can you hear me? It's a
I said,
really
did I? Yeah.
no, we heard you. It's a really
Okay.
important thing, even for those of us. There are some, some of our family members are newer at this, and one of the things that's important is that they understand the importance of the ancestors. So even with Dr. Vikki saying her water was empty, that's an important thing because in the past, I think we're getting better at it. And as we get more comfortable, like you said, and remove the colonization from the brain, then we will understand that is a whole workforce that is available to us that we haven't tapped into historically because we've been told we shouldn't. So they are the most underworked workforce around. But it is a relationship. There's a relationship that you have. So Dr. Vikki's feeding them and giving them things on the altar, and in return, then they offer their downloads. So it's one of those things where it's a conversation, it's a living and moving currency that's happening between us and the ancestors if we allow it. Now, consider they're on the other side saying, please talk to me, I can help. And we
Yeah.
didn't always do that. So now that we're doing it, I think it's a beautiful thing. And I mean, we need all the peoples we can get. here and on the other side in such
Yeah,
a
we do. And I think it also is important. This is and it is also important to respect where people are
yeah,
in their journey, right? And not to make people feel judged or make people feel bad for not knowing,
right. Everybody
because we are talking about centuries, decades, generations of things being hidden from us.
absolutely.
And we are in a season now of revelation, of exposure,
Mm-hmm.
of accelerated ascension, of
Mm-hmm.
transcendence, of understanding the power of nature and the moon and the stars and the universe, right? We are in this age or this dispensation, if you will, of understanding that God is bigger than Genesis to Revelation, right? Or what we've been taught, or our power and what we have access to. So African ancestry is much bigger than us identifying where we're from in Africa, what tribe of people we come from, and where we belong. That's just the start, really. That's just the beginning. It would take us lifetimes, plural, to really unpack all that is available to us, the richness. It will inform the way that you view birth. It will inform the way that you view death and dying. It will inform the way that we move through the world. It will inform whether we absorb all of the trauma that we witness, or whether we are just bearing witness to it to know where we need to then go and do work, right? And be a light and be wisdom and be strength
Yeah.
and be power, right? And to make sure, the other powerful thing about this knowledge, this science, if you will, is that it also puts you in the lane that you're supposed to be in. Just because you have the capacity to do some things, is that your calling?
Right.
Right. So when you know where you're from and who you are connected to, it will also inform your path of what you're supposed to be doing. Watch this, what you're supposed to be continuing. Because I
Correct.
literally am continuing the work of my maternal grandmother.
Wow. That's amazing. And I think that many of us who are African ancestry family members, sometimes we are the ones who are just starting to support the awakening. We're having our own, and then as other people watch us and we're excited about whatever comes up for us in these results, and we share them with our families, everybody's eyes are opening at different times, just like you said, different times. Everybody's on their own journey. It's no judgment, but we're all here together. So I love that. So soul wealth. Tell us what soul wealth means to you.
Soul wealth is about the well-being of your emotions. Your soul is really the seat of your emotions. And so in 3rd John in scripture, the scripture reads, God desires that you prosper, that I prosper, and be in health, even as, those are two key words, your soul prospers. Your soul being the seat of your emotions. So that scripture really can be articulated. God desires that we be in health, even as our emotions are in health. And then when you go even deeper, what it means is that your life can only be as healthy, as well as the state of your emotions. And so what does that look like on the converse side? It looks like being a public phenomenon, but privately devastated and broken, right? Because your emotions are sick. Your emotions are not in harmony. You're not well. So the work of soul wealth is found in 5 tenets. It's vision, compassion, authenticity, abundance, and legacy. Vision, compassion, authenticity, abundance, and legacy. First in your life, you have to have a vision for you. You have to have compassion for you. You have to be authentic and allow the layers that have been put on top of your core being to be peeled away, which unlocks your abundance, which then postures you to not just leave a legacy, but live your legacy while you're here. Those tenants have to manifest in your life. Why? Because we cannot give away what we don't have. It is detrimental to try and give from an empty cup. So I share with my mentees and try to lead by example that your capacity is for you, family. It's for you. When you are living, leading, loving, and serving from your capacity, you have a tendency to be in perpetual depletion because you're giving away what's for you. And where I am now will be 56 in a few days. And what I am very confident and anchored in now is I have to check in with me before I get up to go and pour into others. I really have to check in with myself. Do you have it today? And if I don't have it today, it's okay to take a break and say, I don't have it, right? It's okay not to answer the phone. It's okay not to scroll through all 5 social media platforms that I have a presence on. I don't have it today. I need to be still. It is the thing that took me to my medicine. My soul's medicine is hiking. So, Nate, Wendy, we talk about it. We're out on these trails and, hiking saved my life. It saved my life at the beginning of the pandemic. I started hiking about 10 miles a week, and it has been everything for me. And when I don't do it, I can tell the difference. So soul wealth is about living at capacity, making sure you have what you need, and then giving to others from your overflow. I like to give the illustration. I remember my dad's mom, my paternal grandmother, she would always get up every morning and drink coffee. She had a percolator, like the old school coffee pot where, the silver ones that you sat on the gas stove and you could see the coffee, percolating, and she would pour it in. Back then, they didn't have these gigantic coffee cups. They weren't drinking coffee like that. They were drinking coffee out of the little round china cups and had the saucer, right? And so she would drink her coffee. She would sit at the table, cross her legs, I can see her now, and just sip her coffee. And sometimes she would fill up the cup that the coffee would overflow into the saucer. And when she would finish drinking her coffee, she would pick up the saucer and drink the overflow from the saucer. And so I use that example to say to our family tonight, live from the cup, but give, serve, and love others from the saucer. Like if you don't have anything in the saucer, then you don't have anything for anybody else. So you want to be intentional about keeping your cup full so that you're constantly, perpetually, you're just a conduit of God energy, right? So you want God to overflow in you so much that all you have to do is not give other people your cup. You want to live so you can give other people the saucer and say, here, you sip that. And it's just as good as what's in the cup because that's where it came from. So that is what soul wealth is. Soul wealth is about keeping your cup full and then staying in perpetual overflow and passing the saucer to others to say, sip this, it's good for you, right? And then teaching them how to get a cup, first of all, know that you have one, and then fill your cup, and then pay it forward, and then you pass the saucer to someone else. That is where the mentor's mentor came from. So I help other women leaders build their brands, their communities, their tribes, and that way I am not ever really operating in perpetual depletion. I am pouring into other women as they pour into other women, because this is the thing, Wendy. Every single woman who has the assignment of leading other women If all of our tribes were filled to capacity, like you have a tribe, Gina has a tribe, all of us have a tribe, right? If all of our tribes were filled to capacity, there would still be people untouched. There would still be people searching for a place to belong, for a place to connect. So there's more than enough in the vineyard, if you will. There's more than enough work. There's more than enough service for all of us to offer if we just keep passing the saucer.
That's it, because scarcity is a construct. Like,
Yep.
scarcity is not really real. It's just what our mind says. And so when we pull back, and that's what, why we thought it was important here at African Ancestry for December to be giving and receiving, because this is the time to give and receive, but people get so overwhelmed by feeling pressured to give.
Yeah.
And then people feel some kind of way if they didn't receive. So we want to, there to be balance. And that's why we wanted you to come and drop some jewels. This is exactly what we were looking for. These are, so family, she told us, you drink from the saucer, you drink from the cup, but you give from the saucer. So just think about not depleting yourself this holiday season, whether it's in the gift giving, but also whether it's in your energy.
Yeah.
Going to people's
especially in your energy.
Yeah. People's house you don't want to go to, don't go this time.
Don't go.
You don't have to go to dinner that time. You don't have to hug them. Like, you don't have to do those things, to preserve yourself, to preserve your peace, and to preserve your soul wealth, because wealth in the pocketbook is beautiful too. I love money. And I also love having peace and wealth in my soul. So I think that's a beautiful thing. So they're saying, Zenobia is saying, yes, pure jewels. Someone said that they bought some of your, Zenobia also said that she bought some soul wealth, rose crystal, and incense from you last year. And
yeah, I did a partnership with Yetta Young at Incense Love Meditation, where she did a soul wealth collection of incense and bath oils, and that box was incredible.
And she wants to know. She wants to know, is there any more? So those are, I think that during the holidays, what kind of tips, maybe 2 tips that you can give our family? You've already given us a lot to digest, but what are 2 other tips that you can give us to preserve ourselves and our soul wealth as we're going through the holidays, with all the hustle and bustle, considering it really is the time to hibernate because it's cold outside?
Yeah. So the first thing that comes to mind is to declutter. Declutter everything, starting with your physical space. Declutter your physical space. Then you want to work to your emotional space. Then you want to work to your mental space. Then you want to work to your phone book, your friends list,
Your Facebook list.
Listen, I mean every word I'm saying.
Thank
right?
you, friend.
Unfollow everyone that does not bring you joy. If they don't add to you, unfollow them.
Yep.
Right? Why follow them?
Yeah. So now, why is it important to declutter your space? Like, what does that do?
It makes room. It gives you margins.
Okay.
Because sometimes, like how I'm in the frame of this picture, right? I'm gonna do something real quick, right? Because I like to be demonstrative sometimes. Okay. So when you live in clutter, you look like this.
Okay.
That's what your life looks like.
Okay.
There's no space. There's no room. There's no room for blessings. There's no room for more.
Yeah.
There's no room for what is supposed to be, because our spaces, the areas of our lives, are at capacity, and frequently at capacity with stuff and people whose season has expired. It's not to say it's bad, because in every experience, there's a lesson. There's a blessing or there is a lesson, right? After you get the blessing or the lesson, you get to move forward. And in the new place or the next place, there's more.
Yeah.
But if you don't have room for more, not only will you miss the fullness of the experience or the blessing, but it'll go to waste.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I am at a place now where I'm going through everything. Think about it from this perspective. Think about it from this perspective. If you died yesterday, what do the people who love you have to clean up?
Word.
And I am saying that from the posture of, as a chaplain and associate pastor, having had to, in the last 2 years, walk through the loss of a loved one with no less than 40 families. And in some cases, I was present when we had to go through the person's belongings because the people needed support. And you're like, what is this?
Wow.
What is it? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that from a place of judgment.
Right.
I'm saying it as a reality check. You know, it's why I love the concept of the tiny house.
Yeah. Me too.
Think about it from that perspective. Not that I want to live in a tiny house, because I don't. I
Right.
could, but I don't want to.
Right.
But think about it. If you had to live in a tiny house, what would you get rid of so that you could be comfortable in a tiny house?
Yeah.
What can you streamline emotionally so that it's not constantly on your mind? It's not waking you up at night. It's not keeping you up at night. What do you need to get rid of? And so this time of year is a great time to be reflective and contemplative about relationships, because where there is no reciprocity, there is no honor.
Right.
When I was younger, 20s, 30s, even early 40s, maybe, I used to send out a ton of Christmas cards. Ton of Christmas cards. I just want people to know I'm thinking about them.
Right.
And one day, I was like, when is the last time I got a card from them? Why are you doing that? Now I'm talking to me. Now I'm talking in the mirror. Why are you doing that? Do y'all have a relationship, or is this an attachment? There's a difference. So I began to declutter my list.
Okay.
So that there could be reciprocity, there could be honor, there can be space, there can be love, there can be enjoyment of true relationship and not just transactions.
Okay. Yeah, not just transactions. That's pretty deep.
Yeah,
Okay.
because transactions rob us of energy. Relationships strengthen, add value, nourish, nurture. Transactions are depleting. That's why if you have too many transactions and not enough money in the bank,
Wow.
you end up with insufficient funds, right? It's the same in relationships. So what I'm saying, if I had to drill it down to a sentence, is check your relationship budget in alignment with your energy budget.
Check your relationship budget. Put that in the chat, y'all, as my necklace is breaking. That's amazing. Check your relationship budget. Okay.
Yeah. Can I put it in a different context really quickly?
Okay.
Because, and the reason I say this, and I'm not talking about good people versus bad people. That's not what this is. This is, where am I in alignment in my relationships? Because when you have too many of the wrong relationships in your life, wrong as defined by they're no longer purposeful or fruitful or reciprocal. They're just taking up space because they've always been there.
Okay.
Those relationships are occupying real estate in your energy, in your heart, in your emotions, that you could be giving more of that quality time and real estate and space to the people who you are really in relationship with.
Wow.
How many times, Wendy, let's talk you and me for a minute.
Okay.
How many times have we missed moments that we will never recover with our daughters?
Yeah.
Because we felt like we had to be in attachment somewhere else because that's where we thought our value was.
Yeah.
Instead of in the moment with our daughters. And I'm just bringing it really personal and being transparent for a moment, because both you and I are the mothers, single mothers of daughters who are only children.
Who are only children and who live on their own, and they're away from us now. So it's harder to pull them back in to get a hug.
Can't get that time back, right? Like I have to make an appointment to see my daughter. Hey, what you doing?
Yeah.
Can you come by, right? And it's okay. I'm not despising or lamenting that. My point is, once you get the awareness of the value of relationships, don't miss that.
Yeah.
Because you can't get that time back. Be intentional. There it is. Be intentional with everything about your life, your energy, your time, your words, not just your money and your skill set and your gift and your information and your intellectual property. Be intentional about every single moment. Be intentional about every heartbeat, because you only have so many. I only have so many, and we can't get those back. So, is it worth your heartbeat? That's the question. That's the filter. Is this conversation worth my heartbeat?
Yeah, is this worth your heartbeat? Put that in the chat, y'all, because that's amazing. That's a sound bite. And I'm gonna use that. That's a good one, Dr. Vikki.
What it does is it raises your consciousness about your mortality and about how you use your time.
Yeah.
Because it's valuable. Not only is it valuable, like right now, this moment is all we have.
It's all we have. The present, the now. Amen.
Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not here yet. Right now, in this moment, I am fully present in this conversation with
you. Yeah.
And that has come with practice.
Yeah.
I'm fully here. And that is where we want to be, right now. Because in every moment, you have everything you need. You have all sufficiency for all things in every moment. And when we focus on yesterday or tomorrow, that is where anxiety comes from.
Ashe. Now, let me ask you this, Dr. Vikki. You talked about reflecting, you attract what you reflect. So be the person who is a magnet for love. So you're talking about doing all these things and being intentional and things like that. So now, how can the African Ancestry family be intentional? We are loved. We were born loved. Sometimes we forget that. So how can we remember that as we're remembering who we are? How can we remember that we are loved and to become that magnet to be able to attract more of it into our lives?
Well, the first question is great question. The first question is, I needed to just exhale for a minute. Would you want to be in a relationship with you? Because you attract what you reflect.
Right. Right.
And when you take personal responsibility for your behavior, for your choices, for your responses, it's a different kind of relating. When you pause, and this comes, I wasn't really privy to a lot of conversations that we now have access to. So it's important for me to be what I didn't have, to be who I didn't have for other people, right? That's a part of my calling. And so I try to entreat people like the golden rule that we learned in kindergarten, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
I really practice living, how would I feel if that happened to me? Now, sometimes the fire comes up and out.
Because you Sagittarius.
I'm a Capricorn.
Oh, you're Capricorn. We're going into Capricorn time. Okay. Okay.
And so sometimes it gets a little hot and I have to pull back.
Right.
Even though even then there comes a moment of contemplation and reflection. What was that about?
Okay.
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
What do you need? And the answer is where I take my proverbial pitcher of love and I pour love on it.
Pour a little love on it.
Pour love on it. Vikki, where did that come from?
Okay.
Why did that irritate you? Why did that make you so upset? Now, sometimes anger is good. Righteous indignation has its place, right?
Yeah.
But don't let the fire burn you up. That's where love kind of counters the fire and just kind of helps you manage it. Because fire is fuel, it's energy.
Yeah.
So, in those answers is where you want to pour love and fill up with love.
Yeah.
And again, let me go back to a cup. I love using a cup.
Yeah.
Clearly, I love using a
Visualizing
cup.
here with my eyes closed and visualizing
So
this.
we're the cup.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine putting an empty cup under a faucet of running water. When the capacity is reached, right, the water just starts overflowing. Imagine love coming up out of you like that.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So how people treat me is about them. It's not about me.
Right.
It's the love coming out of me that heals me. And the love I have for me, self-love, helps constrains me is the word.
Okay.
To pause and decide if I want to deal with you or not.
Okay.
Because your behavior is not about me. Your behavior is about you.
Yeah.
So we like people because of who they are or are not.
Yeah.
Our capacity to love someone has nothing to do with them. It's what's coming out of me that gives me capacity.
Yeah.
And with that capacity, I get to choose where my love goes.
That was the biggest lesson I learned in 2021. That was the lesson that I learned that, you know, all what you just said, I can't even repeat it because it was just so much. But that was my biggest lesson. And I turned 50 last year, and it was a hard but necessary lesson. And I'm grateful for the lesson now. Can't say that when I was boohooing, but I'm grateful for it now. So, family, Gloria says she about to throw her phone. Okay, don't throw your phone, Gloria. because we can't pay for it. But yes, Dr.
We're all on a journey. We're
Yeah.
all on a journey.
Yep.
And it's not up to me
Yeah.
how other adults walk out their journey.
It is not.
The only adult that I have control over is this one.
Is you in the mirror.
That's it.
Right.
That's even a huge pill for me to swallow as it relates to my daughter. She's 28.
As a mom. Yeah.
She's 28.
Wow.
And I had to come to a place of recognition and surrender that I have given her the best parts of me.
Yeah.
And now she has to walk out her journey.
Yeah. Amen.
So soul wealth is about surrender. It is about surrender. And Job 22, the Amplified version, says, if you agree with God quickly, then you will have peace. And good will come to you. Psalm 119 says this, great peace have they that love the law and precepts of God, and nothing shall offend thee. So my question is, can you imagine living an unoffended life? How powerful would you be if nothing offended you?
Vikki, let me tell you, let me put this in like a perspective for my family here, for my African Ancestry family. The first quote you said, what was the first scripture you said about?
Job 22, agree with God quickly.
Job 22, agree. Somebody put that in the chat.
Agree with God quickly.
Somebody put that in the chat.
Agree with God quickly, recognizing that God is you.
Right.
Let me just go there.
Yeah, well,
because God is great in us, through us, as us.
Amplified through us. Absolutely. So today,
so agree with God quickly so you can have peace. Now, in this season of giving and receiving, it is when we violate and betray ourselves that we become frustrated or anxious because we get out of alignment with what we know brings us peace. So agree with God quickly so you can have peace. When you're at peace, then all the good with your name on it can find you because you're in alignment and your soul is settled. And you're not all over the place. You're not frustrated. You're not anxious. You're not worried. You're at peace, great peace.
Yeah.
And when you have great peace, nothing offends you. That doesn't mean you're not concerned. That doesn't mean you're not aware. That doesn't mean you're not provoked to advocacy or action. It just says you won't be offended.
Right.
So because offense oppresses you.
And it traps in the body.
Yep.
And it causes disease. And we have 6 minutes left, Dr. Vikki, so I wanted to make a few points.
Okay.
Yes. Agree quickly. I learned that today when I took my car to get fixed for a headlight and now $400 in. And I don't have my car right now. Got to go pick it up tomorrow. I sat there and I was about to go into something and I agreed at that moment it was going to be okay. I'm abundant. I'm going to have what I need. And I felt better. And I have my sister Anisha's on here. I talked to her about it. So I'm telling the truth. So people, African Ancestry fam, agree quickly. The other thing is if you want more. So thank you, Zenobia. You volunteered me that. That's like I'm like a quarterback. I'm on the outside. I just caught that ball. I need more of Dr. Vikki. Okay, well, here we go. She has Soul Wealth Radio, and you can listen to all of her more than 200 episodes of information exactly like this. Now, Dr. Gina did an interview with her a while back, and that is episode number 204. So if you go to VikkiJohnson.com, then you will see in the corner is the radio show, Soul Wealth Radio. You can get lots more of this, but listen to Dr. Gina's, listen to her interview. I have known Gina for maybe 10, 12 years, but I got to know her much more just from the questions that Dr. Vikki asked. So it was like a gift to understand Dr. Gina more. Now, the other thing is, since we're gift giving, I would like to give all of us a gift of a self-reflection. So now, at the end of Dr. Vikki's shows, a lot of times she asks questions. So I want to ask her these questions because I feel like she probably always asks them, but I want to give her the space as her little baby bird to be reflective and gift this to herself to think about it again. And I want all of you to put it in the chat. What dream is living inside of you right now? So let's take a minute. What dream is living inside of you now? That's the gift you're giving yourself, self-reflection. Type it in the chat. We're going to take a minute because we got 4 minutes left before we end. But what is the dream living inside of you? And even if you can't think of it right now, maybe take some time over the holidays to think about it. But Dr. Vikki, what is the dream that's living inside of you right now?
That the world, literally the globe, is flooded with soul wealth. That soul wealth is a household name. That millions of people are listening to the Soul Wealth Radio show and living out the manifestation of vision, compassion, authenticity, abundance, and legacy. Soul wealth is the dream for me. It is a way of being. It is an embodiment. It is a lifestyle. It is soy candles, and it is t-shirts, and it is community. It's all of those things. And so the dream living inside of me is that soul wealth is a household name and that everyone knows what it is, including Oprah. And she wants more of it, that it's in every corner of the globe. Soul wealth is going to Ghana in a few weeks. And I'm super excited about that they'll be walking around with Soul Wealth masks on and Soul Wealth t-shirts on. So it's happening. I am living the dream. I am the dream, right? I am the dream that my grandmother dreamed, that my great-grandmother dreamed. There we go, connecting to our ancestors. So.
And then the legacy is, what legacy would you like to leave? And family, I would like for you to put that into the chat as well. What legacy would you like to leave, Dr. Vikki?
I'm living it. It's called Soul Wealth. I'm living it right now. I am living my legacy.
That's amazing. So what else can you ask for? I mean, if you're living it now, that's all you can ask for. So
I am living in the saucer.
Living in the saucer. So, bam, please put some hearts, some red hearts. Dr. Vikki is a Delta. So put some hearts in the chat for her. And you can go to VikkiJohnson.com. You can also follow her on her Instagram page, All Things Vikki.
Yeah.
Again, she's an author, 12 books. Follow her, support her, look at all the things that she has going on. She posts really beautiful things every day to keep us remembering to tap into the soul wealth. So,
man, I'm everywhere. I'm All Things Vikki on Twitter, on LinkedIn, here on Facebook, Instagram. YouTube is All Things Vikki Johnson. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity, for this moment. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, African Ancestry family. This has been incredible.
Thank you. So hang tight. We're going to do a little housekeeping. So one moment. So, family, again, thank you so much for indulging me as I fill the shoes of Dr. Gina. Please send her lots of love. Let's put some hearts and let's put some globes in the chat for Dr. Gina. And that is going to be our way of sending love, sending vibes, sending positive energy for her to have a safe, restful, peaceful flight back home to us. So she'll be on next week. But we thank you for joining us. We do not take it lightly. We so appreciate your time every Wednesday coming on and sharing with us here at African Ancestry Live. So next week is no different. We have Chazelle Muhammad Nian of African Link Initiative, and she talks about how she helps to transform children and Black children and how they see themselves and Africa. So it'll be another very powerful episode. We look forward to seeing you join us. Again, everybody, thank you so much. We're still not out of a pandemic. Remember the rules, and not the rules, remember the suggestions Dr. Vikki shared with us on how to maintain our soul wealth. We can put those into practice as we continue to boost our immunity. So boost your immunity, your internal immunity, your energetic immunity, your physical immunity, your spiritual immunity. And we will see you next week. Thank you again, family. Peace.